Hello and welcome to Mom's Bookshelf, Nurturing Motherhood Through Literature. Today we have with us a guest who is a public speaker, who's a writer, she's a blogger, she is a maternal mental health coach. She runs a website which is called the Scottish Soul Sister, and she has a course which focuses on the mental health of mothers and how to talk to moms who are suffering from postpartum depression. So, Nikki, welcome to our podcast channel, and we are glad that you are here with us. Nikki, Steele, Osborne. I can see your smiling face, and which really gives me this positive energy. And I think moms really require this positive energy to go on with their work. And when I became mom for the first time, I wished I had somebody like you who could guide me, because as a mom, there is so much of confusion, so much of fog in the brain, what to do, what not to do. And nowadays, I think coaches like you, they are really doing a wonderful job, because we are staying in a nuclear setup. Earlier, people were staying in joint families, and then they had so many people who already did the work of a life coach. But then now, as we are in a nuclear setup, we really require people like you who guide us to maintain emotional stability in our lives as moms. So because when we embark on this journey, we find that we don't have enough experience with it, and we feel that this is the most vulnerable stage in our life. So as we proceed, since I've written a book about motherhood, the revelations of a millennial mom, so I would just like to read out a few lines that I've written from the book. So it goes like, motherhood is really amazing, but it is really tough. It is fun, yet the journey is rough. You are overwhelmed with love, but in the next moment, enraged with frustration. Yet motherhood is amazing. So I feel that, mothers are those entities who have ambivalence. They have love at the same time and filled with frustration at the, next moment. So with this, let's move forward and let's hear from you, Nikki. How did you become a maternal mental health coach? So what inspired you to become a maternal mental health coach?
Exactly what you just said. Becoming a mom, becoming a mom was my catalyst for supporting other moms and dads. I'm here for all the parents. When my son was born in 2017, I was ready. I always wanted to be a mom. I was ready. So I didn't expect to feel the way I felt, and postpartum depression did come and almost blindside me. And I love what you said earlier, you're smiling, you're positive. And that's the thing, is that when I talk about this, it's to bring hope. It's to say, look, you're not stuck here. This is challenging, but we can navigate it. And all we need is that bit of support. We all need support. And for many of us who are living overseas, we perhaps don't have that proximity of our family and friends, so there are different layers. There's a lot of layers to what contributes to it being challenging, but there's a lot of resources as well. And that's what I do. I'm a resource. I'm here to help, and I'm here to listen. So yes, it's valuable work, and I love what I do.
That's great. I think that's true, that our families are in actually geographically different location, and we don't get help the moment we want. So these days, as we've been hearing from our traditional parents or traditional mothers that everybody goes through motherhood, and why do you make hue and cry about it? So in this scenario, this is something which I've written about, that everybody goes through motherhood. All females, they have to go through motherhood, but then this happens to a female for the first time. I mean, if you are a mom, that your story might be different, my story might be different, everybody's journey is different. So at this stage, how do you think that it is, people who are suffering from postpartum depression, how much do you think that they require professional help? Because people think that they will, this is just related to time and it will vanish away with time. So do you think that they require professional help?
Do you know, I actually think now, if you think about when you are driving a car, you have lessons how to drive the car. You don't just get in the car and go out onto the roads, okay? But when it comes to parenting, like you say, whether it's your first time as a parent or whether you've got other children, each situation is unique, each child is unique, and as I said earlier, the layers that contribute to a postpartum depression, they can be physical, they can be biological, they can be circumstantial. So I believe that we should all anticipate how we're going to navigate this new journey, not necessarily saying that it's about postpartum depression. I think as a normalization of supporting each other whilst we go into this new world. And of course, things change from generation to generation. Our mothers didn't have access to the internet. They didn't have all these resources. But at the same time, they also didn't have all of that information that can be overwhelming, trying to decide which is good for you and which isn't. So when I'm working with a client, everything that I do is to fine tune it to that one unique person, and they actually find out the things that work for them and the things that don't work for them. What I do and what works for me wouldn't necessarily be the same things for you. So I'm here to facilitate that, not to tell you what to do, and certainly not to advise about the baby. I don't do that part of it. I am purely here for the support of the parents. And that in turn helps with your parenting, because if you're happy and you're confident in what you're doing, that is going to impact your children, So it all ties in, doesn't it?
Yes, I think I can so well relate to it because I feel that somehow we jump into motherhood without knowing about it, and we feel that like from generations people have been giving births, and this feels like a cakewalk, but it is not. You are actually holding a life in your hands, and you're responsible for that life. And I think it's better to prepare our mindset for it. So yes, so life coaches like you, maternal soulful coach, I must say that soulful coaches like you are a great help for mothers. So when I was suffering from this kind of I don't know, even at this point of time, I don't know that was a depression or it was just baby blues. Still, I cannot make a differentiation. But then that phase has gone. But then, what do you feel that for mothers? How can they differentiate between postpartum depression and baby blues? So how would they differentiate between the two?
So do you know there's actually the first part when you have the baby is called the baby pinks. And not a lot of people know about the baby pinks. So the baby pinks is when you have delivered your child and it's a euphoric state. You're overwhelmed with love for your new baby and you are just running on this adrenaline because you've just given birth. So your body is reactive. So you have the baby pinks first. The baby blues are when all of those hormones that were elevated during pregnancy have calmed down after delivery. So it's expected that your hormones will induce emotions. We get tearful. We are a bit overwhelmed. We've just had a new person come into the world. We grew a full person, And then that's expected to last maybe 2 weeks. Anything there and after, then you start talking about postpartum or postnatal depression. Postpartum depression is in relation to the mother and what's going on with her. Postnatal depression is in conjunction with the baby. Okay, so there's different ways of looking at it. I personally think that this support should be there anyway. We all have hairdressers, doctors, dentists, and I really believe we should all have a coach or a counsellor or a psychologist, whatever it is that works for you, that gives you that mental health support. So everything that I do is on a practical level. You know, it's about unearthing what makes you tick. And probably one of the most important things that I talk about is there's a narrative when women have a child to bounce back. You know, I'll bounce back to my pre-baby weight, or I'll bounce back to my career. And I'd love it if we could start looking at this window of time and saying, okay, we're in the evolvement stage. What's next? What does the future hold? And it doesn't look the same as the past, because we now have a new life as well. We're now mums or dads. Our lives are different. So I think it's about evolving and welcoming that instead of resisting it and thinking, oh, you know, I've had friends who, when they were having their children, said, you know, nothing will change. We'll still travel the same. We'll do this. They didn't, you know, because it's different. Life is different. And I just feel that if we welcome that and use that to normalize the conversation, then it would take away so many expectations for people that they are not meeting. And that is what a lot of it is, expectation. What we have in our mind and what the reality is sometimes don't meet. So you've got this part in the middle where people feel disappointed or sad or, you know, X, Y, Z. So I think it's about evolving and welcoming this new phase in our lives.
Yes, it is so wonderful to talk to you. In fact, I didn't know about baby pink. So that was nice to know. And you're right. I think, yes, we should learn to embrace change because, you know, as glam moms, I should say particularly, we always see on Instagram that mothers are like, nothing has changed. You know, their life normally goes on and it should go on, but then it puts a pressure on everybody else. Because we see celebrities, they are coming back to their same body shape. And that is how, you know, I feel that those people, they have an arsenal of help. But common people like us, they are actually struggling with so many changes. There is, you know, suddenly you feel somebody new in your new body setup. And, you know, there is so much of physiological change, emotional change, psychological change. And I think, yes, rather than saying that, you know, everything is normal, I think we should speak about what are the challenges that we have faced as a mother, we are facing. So that will make us, you know, people will be ready to help us. Otherwise, if we are just portraying that we are super moms, that is putting a pressure on other moms, right? So that is what I feel. So could you we would like to hear a story from you where you have transformed somebody's life, or, you know, you have been a help to a woman, a mother.
The first life that I transformed was my own. You know, when I embarked on this, previous to becoming a mum, I was a hairdresser. And when I finally got some support and, you know, started working my way through the postpartum depression, it became this journey that I'm still now on, you know, of personal development and better understandings of myself, which in turn changed the trajectory of my personal life, but also my professional life. Hence why I'm sitting here just now as a coach, pay this forward and help other mums. And what I find is that sometimes when we have the initial consultation, okay, so like this, it's a conversation, we jump on Zoom and have a conversation. And I often find that after 30 minutes or an hour of allowing a space to be held for someone to just share how they're really feeling without fear of judgment, without worrying about the opinion or the guidance that comes from, you know, well-meaning family and friends, that in itself can be a pivotal moment. And I think this is part of the full thing, is that we hold it back and we hide it and we don't share what we're really feeling. And when you are given an opportunity to share how you really feel, you feel a bit lighter. And all of a sudden you've got a little more clarity. So then your decision making comes in, you know, and what I do is facilitate from that point forward. I've had people do my online course who don't have children. They just needed some support in day-to-day life. And one of the reviews that came back was, I think you've just saved my marriage. And that was really special for me, because I think as adults, whether it's navigating parenthood or just life in general, we sometimes need a bit of support. We need someone to help guide us in a direction that will give us a bit more clarity. Then we can make better decisions, which will impact our emotions, which impacts our behaviours. And we just need someone to facilitate for us sometimes. That's all it is. You know, I also think we overcomplicate. And we look online and we see all these wonderful resources, and some of it is just so complex. And I am at the other end of that. I'm bringing it right back to basics, because I really believe that we need those foundations before we then embark on the bigger, deeper things. You know, when they built the Burj Khalifa, they didn't just sit it on top of the sand, right? They had to dig these foundations, and that's what I invite people to do. You know, figure out what makes you tick, what makes you feel happy, what doesn't make you feel good. What do we need to look at? What little shifts can we make in your daily life that can have a really big impact? So yeah, it's important, and it fills my heart when I get messages from, you know, other mums saying, Nikki, you will always have a place in my heart. You were a light when it was dark. That's why I do this. That's why I do it.
Yes, Nikki, I think that's pretty well said, that if you're ready to transform the life of somebody, I think that is really, really magical. Because, you know, as mothers, I feel that, you know, you are in that awe, and you feel that you really need help, but you are not able to ask for the fear of being judged, and for the fear of being, you know, called by society that you're not an efficient mom. Because the way the time we become moms, I think society it lays it with all the jargons and with all the titles that we have to take care of the baby and the household work and the work and everything. So I think there was a friend of mine who told me that if somebody had told me that these are the challenges that you will be facing as a mother, I would have been better prepared. And I can so well relate to her, because what we have been portraying, what media has been portraying to us, is that everything is hunky-dory with motherhood, but that is not the same. And I wish you all the best with the course that you are taking for mothers. And I just hope and I wish you all the best for transforming the lives of moms. And I really hoped if you were there when I became mom for the first time, so I can really get into the shoes and I can understand what a havoc it plays to the mind, because you are happy, you know, you are happy, but then you are also sad at the same time, and you are in the most vulnerable stage, but you have to take care of the baby as well. And just so many emotions going on. So we are glad that you came on this platform and discussed about maternal health issues and about postpartum depression. And I wish you all the best for all your endeavors. You have been doing a wonderful job, and it was so great to meet you in person as well.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you facilitating for people like me to share these stories and hopefully reach someone and help them today, right?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And for my viewers, again, her website is thescottishsoulsister.com. You can reach out to her. She runs a course for maternal mental health. So that is a pretty good course. And I think that is what is required today, is about how do we emotionally connect with each other, and how do we empathize with mothers. So even if you are a mom, it's good that you take this course. Or even if you're not a mom, but you have somebody who's a mom around you, I think it is very important to learn about motherhood. And I think it's very important to learn about motherhood for everyone, because your sister must be, even if you are not a mother, but your sister must be a mom, or you must have a friend who's a mom. And it is so important to empathize with them, because they are actually responsible for raising the future, and they are contributing to the world by raising an individual. So thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on this platform.